people talking about the lack of buzz for Canelo and Scull. Also, you could probably say, as of right now, it's a lack of buzz for the New York City fight card. I mean, honestly, you gotta understand too. I think it's a holiday weekend too, so maybe that might play a part into it. About this time, especially for the cold weather states, weather starting to break, people gonna be outside. But that's one thing that Riyadh season ain't really mastered, and it takes time to create a buzz for a fight. And honestly, when was the last time a fight really buzzed nationally? That's a great question. When was a fight really had everybody kind of talking? To be honest, I really don't think we've really had that type of fight that everybody was anticipating since Mayweather was fighting. It might have been since Mayweather Pacquiao. And you got to understand, people talking about Canelo Golovkin, that was a nice buzz to fight, but that wasn't really, pop culture wasn't involved in that. Now it's really become hip hop pop culture. Popular culture has now been overtaken by hip hop, but American pop culture wasn't involved in that. So I mean, I could be missing some fights there, but I mean, boxing really don't be buzzing. Tank's actual fight has the feel of a big fight, but in reality, outside of the arena, it doesn't buzz like that. It doesn't pull the numbers that it should. He doesn't pull the numbers that a Mayweather will pull. You know what I'm saying? As a Pacquiao will pull, as a Oscar De La Hoya will pull. You got to remember when Oscar had huge pay-per-view fights. Him, Trinidad. I mean, add him up, Bernard Hopkins, Mayweather. When he had them fights, just felt like they just felt like it was the Super Bowl. You know what I'm saying? You probably go back to the Thriller, Manila. You can probably go back till Foreman Ali. Those fights used to feel. Your Mike Tyson fight used to feel like that was the event. It's kind of like when the Super Bowl come up, that's the event. It's kind of like the NBA Finals come on. For the night, that's the event. And right now, boxing is just so misaligned with pop culture right now. It's hard to steal that spotlight. So when we talk about, the buzz, man, boxing ain't really had that real buzz of taking over an event. And even with UFC fights, I don't really feel that the fights that UFC put on have that buzz like that. It don't be buzzing like that. But that's something that Riyadh season and Turkey Al-Sheikh, they got to figure out how to calculate that. Like I said, I continue to say it's gonna be hard to duplicate that, on the zone. The zone, when you look at the zone, the platform, it's a great idea, but the talent on the platform is as far away from pop culture as possible. Like, it's just a bunch of dorks. And that's no disrespect, but it's a bunch of dorks. Ain't nothing fly about the shit. At least back in the day, you had Foreman on there, you had Roy Jones on there, Max Kellerman was in the know. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was solid. It was solid. And right now, it's just, Sergio Mora, I mean, okay. Mannix, okay. It's just, they got a lot to be desired. So Scull and Canelo was never gonna buzz. Over in Saudi Arabia and America, his fights would buzz in America because of Cinco de Mayo. And I didn't really understand them taking Cinco de Mayo and taking Canelo and putting them in Riyadh. They didn't make any sense to me. If they was going to work with Canelo, they should have done that in Mexico, Southern California, Vegas. It's a Mexican holiday weekend. That fight is for them. You know, so of course it ain't gonna have no buzz. Ain't no Mexicans traveling over to the Saudi Arabia at all. At all. So right then and there, they lost. Then you tell people that they got to go in their pockets and pay $40, $50 for the fight. I'm like, we don't give a fuck if the fight happened or not. You know, nobody cares if that fight happened or not. If that fight never happened, especially if Crawford wouldn't be in the back pocket, nobody would happen. Nobody would care. So in reality, you know, that is what it is. Now that New York City card is different. You know, you take everybody on that card is a West Coast guy. Think about that for a minute. Ryan Garcia is a West Coast guy. Devin Haney's a West Coast guy. Rollie's a West Coast guy. Jose Ramirez is a West Coast guy. Arnold Barboza's a West Coast guy, minus Teofimo Lopez. Everybody else is a West Coast guy. So the aesthetic is about the fight. The fight is about the aesthetics fight in the middle of Times Square. Won't be no gate. I heard maybe 300 people will be allowed there. Maybe media members, mixture of media members and fans. So, but in reality, they putting together these stacked cards, and you putting together these stacked cards, but it's just so misaligned with pop culture. Lou DiBella talked about that. Pop culture is over here. And the thing about pop culture now, and I said that it is hip hop culture. They are the same. They're intertwined now. That's how much hip hop has overtaken. Boxing is as masculine as it's gonna get. Hip hop and pop culture, man, it's on the emasculation train. You know, boxing is, you know, MMA and boxing, that's a gentleman's sport. But outside of that, you know, what can they do to align themselves with that culture? That's the thing. Can they have Snoop Dogg call some fights, you know, or have a guest speakers, or align it? And I already know they started aligning it with the concerts and all that type of stuff. They don't pay me to have the answers. Now, if they want to, we can figure some things out. And pay me how to get there. I can tell them how to get there. So I'm not about to give them free game. But right now, honestly, if I had something to do on Saturday and I wasn't just sitting around, if I had something to do, I would just do it and catch the replay, or I could do it and watch the highlights and do a video. I'm just being honest with you. Any of these fights, I don't feel like I need to see it. But my favorite fight of the weekend is Teofimo and Arnold Barboza. Everybody else in this card want to be humble and be I don't come for that shit. I come for two dogs to duke it out. So that's the best fight of the weekend. Honestly, I think a sleeper is Jaime Munguia and Bruno Mars fighting again. I think that's the sleeper of the weekend. But we come to see savagery, and I think Barboza, he made a fan of me. I like the attitude. Barboza Mexican I probably fuck around with, and probably put some work in with. I wouldn't be mad with Barboza. You know what I'm saying? Quarter brick, half I'm fucking around. But yeah, that's the type of motherfucker I roll with. Real talks. Real solid, straight suit. And that's T.O. But T.O. look like he in some shape. I'll give him that. T.O. look like he in some shape. T.O. was looking in shape about 3-4 weeks ago. So, you know, I think T.O. know what's on the line. You know, Ramirez and Devin, you know, I think that's another good fight. I'm a huge Ramirez fan, huge Devin fan. Let the best man win. Rollie and Ryan's probably going to be the most electric out the weekend. So, we'll see. But right now, they have to find a way to create buzz. You know, aligning with the video game. They trying stuff. But it's just like, maybe it's to the point where I think boxing is getting caught in that little thing where TV is in a transition mode right now. Look at ESPN. They lost everything but the NBA. Major League Baseball's gone. MMA gone. Boxing gone. I mean, I remember they just canceled Damon Wayans' show, Big Papa's House, on CBS. I mean, when the last time you watched CBS, especially unless it's football? So TV is in a legit transition mode, and for the most part, more people watching YouTube than they watching Hollywood. I got to do that video. I'm gonna do that from the desk. So yeah, you know, this shit is in a transition mode, man. So maybe it might be best to start to, you know, get ahead of the curve and use YouTube as a boxing platform. I mean, Pro Box might be ahead of the curve on that. But right now, fights don't have the buzz that they used to have. And I think that's troubling. But I also don't think it's that for the lack of effort from Turkey Al Sheikh. And I also don't think it's all boxing's fault. I think terrestrial television is in a transition mode. I really think television is a transition mode. I think most people are leaning towards YouTube, leaning towards apps, and that's it. I know people that turn their Hulu and YouTube TV off when football go off. So, but yeah, check out the Box News playlist. Thumbs up the video, share the video, subscribe to the channel. The subscribe button is the bell icon button. Hit all notifications, increase your chance to get notifications. We go live with our video. Hit the link in the description. Follow me everywhere. Join the Patreon. Peace.